Remember I told you, go for the story. The story. You see the story? You see it? And not for the glory. My holy trinity of street shotting lenses. Are they all around the right way? I want you to see, I want you to see, I want you to see, yeah? Yeah, yeah. Brass rings, the lot of them. Canon brass rings. They're not L glass, it's like second rate glass, but go for the story and not for the glory. You're gonna get to understand what I'm talking about. This is my trinity of street lenses that just deliver. They deliver. They stand and they deliver. Yeah. Trinity of primes. We got our 85 millimeter Canon 85 1.8. Beautiful lens. Beautiful lens. Beautiful lens. Look at that front element. Yeah. Take the back off. Yeah. Huge, huge, huge aperture. Look at that. 1.8. It's beautiful. When you shoot with this on the streets, obviously you got to aim like down the road, across the road. Yeah, full frame, 85 millimeter. But it's beautiful. Something just about the primes when you shoot with them, they're just beautiful. And then I've already shown you my 28. I think this is the last lens that I bought. Is it about a year ago now? Time really flies, man. Looking at my 28. Love shooting 28. I see in 28 O vision. I've seen it in wide O vision. This is, if I had one street lens, focal length, this would be it. This focal length. I love this little thing. Nice and light, nice and small. Fits on the front of your camera. And it is what it is. You can leave it there all day. That's what one of the important factors of street photography is, having light gear that you can have ready all the time, because street moments don't just happen when you go on a photo walk. Street moments happen all the time. So I try and have my camera with me all the time. Anyway, the last lens of the holy trinity of the streets. Yee! Here it is, here it is, here it is. Look at this. Look at this. The 20 millimeter, 2.8. Yeah. This is what I call my storytelling lens. Go for the story and not the glory. Let's just show you this beautiful thing. Yeah. There you go. There's the front element. Do a little review for you. Yeah. It's not as big as some of the others. But it does the business when it comes to capturing light. The reason why I wanted the 20 millimeter, because as I said, I call it a storytelling lens, in that it captures so much information in one frame. You can get images where you can look at those images and just come up with a story just from one image. With the other two, well, definitely the 85, you're going to need a series of images, chances are, unless you're really skilled. I'm not that skilled, so going out with a 28 and an 85, yeah, could complete that little story, little documentary story. If you need to use one, if you want to get that one story in that one frame, this is it, trust me. And I've always wanted to get this lens, but reviews that I've seen online is always like, it's not sharp and it's, it's finicky or whatever it is. And they always put down this lens. And you don't really see people shooting, or you don't really hear about people shooting with 20 millimeters. And like, it's too wide and people distorted and you got to be 28 or 35 or whatever it is. But if you can make this work, the distortion thing is true. If you get too close, when you're framing up and your subject's too close to the edge of the frame, you're going to get some warped disasters. But if you line it up just right, The thing with this lens, I mean, I don't know if you can see the front element there, is very curved. Can't really see it. I have to patch something in so you can see. But the front element is very curved. So you're going to get that, you know, the curvature of the Earth as seen from space. You're going to get that with this lens. But it is a beautiful lens, a beautiful storytelling lens, and it is the third part of my Holy Trinity. So now my little section, my little street lens selection, as I said, is complete. All right, so let me just tell you about this, because it's my latest acquisition as lenses. Size and weight, as you can see, it's nice and small. It balances on a 6D. I should have got my 6D and I left it all the way. Let me go and get my 6D. Wait there. What they say? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Preparation is key. Okay, here we go. Got me 6D, me Mark 1. Yeah, got me Mark 1. Actually filming on the Mark 2 at the moment. So yeah, fits nicely on a 6D, balances nicely on a 6D, being full frame. There you go. That's what it looks like. It might look big, you know, compared to some of these little cameras that we're using today, you know. Even at the EOS R with a new little R28 is tiny compared to this. But this is, you know, this is what I shoot with when I'm not using my M50. And it's, you know, put that around your neck. It is kind of big, but it's doable. And it balances nicely. Yeah, it's not too long out the front, which is why I wanted to replace this 16-35, which is a pretty good street lens. This is a pretty good street lens, but look at the length of it. Let's compare the lengths. Let's compare the lengths. Let's compare lengths. Okay, there you go. 16-35, set it on 20 millimeters. I mean, it doesn't change length, but look at that. Can you see that? Look at that difference. You know, I'd rather have this hanging off the front of my camera rather than this hanging off the front of my camera. Although this is a very good lens, you know. You got 16, you got 20 millimeter, you got 24 millimeter, you got 35, you got everything on here. So this is a one-stop shop, but you don't want to be carrying this all day long. So that's why I went for this beautiful thing right here. First Pro, as you can see, if you look at it, it's got the distance scale. I like my lenses to have the distance scale. And you noticed the EOS R and all those kind of R cameras, they don't have this. Why I like the distance scale is I can have the camera around my neck, just look down and see where it's focused, because I do zone focusing. So I just set this, I set it on the f8 at the bottom of the window there, yeah, of the distance scale, because the distance meter says 3 feet and then it goes straight to infinity, which is not really handy because I like to focus for 7 feet. So this is a little hack that I do on all my lenses. Just wheel this around until you get the 1 meter, 3 feet onto that f8 there, and then you're round about 7. If you look at where the there you go, see this pointer here. When you've got that 3 feet on this f8 on this side of the pointer, that pointer is roughly where you want it to be, 7. That's what I do anyway, and it works. Yeah, so it's got the distance window, and that's a plus. Ding ding. Good build quality. You can see, look, it's got a metal mount on the back. It's made out of plastic, but it is tough plastic. You know what Canon lenses are like, you know. You see one, you see them all. They're, well, this level, gold ring, brass ring, whatever you want to call it. The brass ring selection, the build quality on them are all good, solid. I mean, they're good as the L build quality, just the optical quality might not be up to it, you know. It's got the autofocus switch, which I never use because I just leave it on autofocus. I'm a back button focuser anyway, so that's my autofocus. If you set your camera to back button focus, it will only, what was that? It will only focus, if you set your camera to back button focus, it will only focus when you put your thumb on that autofocus on switch. So most of the time it's in manual focus. You press this, it's in autofocus. So this switch never needs to be switched on or off. I just leave it on all the time. So, but when you do focus, it does focus fast. You press that, you see it just go whirring around, taking care of business. The front element, the lens, when you shoot into the sun, I kind of like flares coming into my images. It adds a little something. It's just a style choice. And for me, I don't see flares as a bad thing. This lens doesn't flare as much as I would like it to, put it that way. It doesn't flare as much as the 28. 28 flares a little bit more. But even the 28, all of the Canons, they got anti-flare resistance. They got some anti-flare coating on the lens. And yeah, it is what it is. Which is why I prefer the Canons sometimes, when the sun's at a certain azimuth, you know, and a certain angle and it's coming down. I reach for my Canons because I want those flares, you know, those beautiful flares that the Canons produce. This, you will get flaring with it, but not on that level. I'm putting it as a good point. The optical signature, it's Canon, isn't it? All Canons. You just say Canon and people talk about the Canon colors and the color science and all that kind of thing. You can't really go wrong with Canon when it comes to the colors. And the optical signature just matches with the 3, with my Trinity. So when if I'm switching between the 3, if I'm juggling between the 3, which I've only done once, I must admit, but if I'm out there and I'm swinging 2 cameras, 2 bodies, you know, you don't have to worry when it comes to editing. They're just gonna look the same, you know, or similar. Beautiful colors, no fringing. But I have to say also that I only shoot these lenses f5.6 on a really grey day. That's the widest I will go. A lot of the time I'm shooting at f11 or I'm shooting at f16, yeah, sometimes f8. So it's between 5.6 and f16. Most of the time f11, I would say, unless I'm going to do some night photography. Actually, if I do night photography, which I've only done once with this, I might go down to the full 2.8, which is I tend to use bigger lenses for night photography. I mean, bigger focal distances. I don't really go this wide. And that's another thing. This is a 2.8 lens, whereas the other 2 are 1.8s, which is that a pro or a con? I don't really shoot at 1.8, but it'd be nice if it was on there. Not quite sure why they've done that for this one. Canon, you know, is that a cripple hammer thing? I don't know. It's not a problem for me because I don't really shoot at 2.8 that often. It's affordable, very affordable. I bought this for, let me see if I can remember now. It's about 200 quid. Yeah, 200 quid for a beautiful little lens, street lens that nobody's really talking about. Because as I said, people don't shoot 20mm on the street. Or if they do, they don't really talk about it. It's all 35 or I'm a 50 guy or I'm a 28. 20mm, I'm telling you. And the thing about shooting 20, sorry, if you can make it work, because you've got to hold your lens parallel. If you hold your lens parallel to the subject, you know, perpendicular, then you're not going to get that distortion. So what it actually does, it encourages you, this is what I found out. This lens encourages you to shoot here. Shoot from the hip. And if I just keep it, if I keep the camera body pressed against my body, then it's parallel. If I raise it up to my eye, what I'm finding is sometimes it just makes a person's head look big and their feet look small. So to get, you can do it, you can raise it up and back button focus and shoot from here, but you got to remember to just try and keep everything level so that you don't get those distortions. When it works But it's all good. I'm going to put some pictures up so you can see. Obviously, all this talking doesn't mean much. There's no image stabilization. There's no image stabilization on any of them. But I would like it if there was image stabilization, just in case. It's not really a big con or not so good, but it is not so good. What else have we got? No weather sealing, as you can see around the mount. There is no rubber gasket, but then there is no rubber gasket on any of these street lenses. There is on the L lens, the 1635. There is, oh, that's the 24-105, sorry. But on all the L lenses, you know, there is the weather sealing, apart from the 35L, my old 35L, which I don't really use on the street, and it weighs a ton. We've got the distance meter hack. As I said, the not so good is that it only goes to from 3 feet, and then the next graticule is infinity. But you can work around it, so it's not so good, but it ain't a con. And the distortion. Shooting at 20 millimeters, you will get distortion if you don't hold the camera straight. So they're not really cons. They're just things to bear in mind. And if you can get around these little issues, this lens, go for the story, not for the glory. This lens is good on the streets for layering. If you got a very busy streets, I've got very busy streets in Brixton, there's always lots going on. This is the lens. It's good for putting a lot of information in one frame, and it will help you to grow in terms of your layering and your storytelling and your, you know, putting things in the frame, composition. That's what this will do. It's good for that. That's why I said, go for the story, not for the glory. What is the glory? I don't know. The glory could be, you know, you're trying to big up yourself. The glory could be, you know, you're trying to bring up your camera brand. Go for the focal length. This thing, you know, as I said, you will get images that tell a story. Not all of them, but you'll see certain images and you're like, wow, I could just blow this up big, and it'll just tell a whole story in one frame. So that's what this lens is good for. That's what my conclusion is. Go for the story, not for the glory. Try out a 20mm, because it is what it is, you know. There's no such thing as a street photography lens. Every lens can be used for street photography, you know. It's just a matter of learning what it's good for and how to use it and how to make the most of it. The last few days I've actually been going on the street with a 24-105. Can you believe this? Kit lens, you know, the original 24-105, and I'm actually enjoying it, because now I can get images across the road, and if I want to get images over here, and if I want to, you know, be flexible, I'm really enjoying it. And this lens is quite soft as well, so it's got its own optical signature about it. So yeah, I shot the 20mm for a month, got the images to show, and over to you. You know, if you want to try something different, try a 20mm. Don't say I never told you. Zoom. Look at this. Ying. Can you see this? This is issue 17 of my zine. Yes, right, I said 17, not 7. 17 of my zine. Yeah, waiting to crosshair. This one, stand and deliver. Standing room only. Yeah, 60 pages. I'm gonna try and flip through it this way. 60 pages of beautiful images documenting the streets of Brixton, boogie down Brixton, sunny South London. Yeah, and it's a continuing story. Started in 2013, just documenting the area, as you know, and this is where we are. So if you would like to get a copy of this issue 17, limited edition, of course, you know what to do. The deets, yeah, check the deets. It's all in here. Check the deets and reach out, you know. You can get it on my WordPress as well. If you go to jetblackinc.wordpress.com, you can get it. Or you can just message me and then we can sort something out, yeah. Issue 17. It's where it is. It's where it's at. Don't be without. This is going to be worth money one day. Big money, like fine wine. It's going to get invaluable more and more as time goes on. Get your zine. Hurry up.